Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Debbie Roche. I am a chiropractor and functional medicine practitioner located in St. Petersburg, Florida. Today I wanted to talk to you about a really important area of health that is often overlooked in traditional Western medicine, and that is adrenal gland or HPA axis dysfunction. Your adrenal glands are a part of the HPA axis, and the H stands for hypothalamus, which is in your brain, and the P stands for pineal gland, which is also in your brain. And so, and then the A stands for the adrenal glands, which sit right on top of your kidney. So we have this HPA axis, and it's a communication system that communicates through hormonal interactions. And so what happens is that this communication between your brain and your adrenal glands can become dysfunctional. And as a result, a lot of symptoms can be created from this imbalance that's occurring in the body. And oftentimes people experience a lot of different types of stress in their lives, whether it be physical stress or emotional stress or mental stress. Stress is what throws off this delicate balance between your brain and your adrenal glands. And so when this happens, the hormones that the adrenal glands then produce, such as DHEA and cortisol, they become imbalanced and impact many different areas of the body. And so these symptoms that this adrenal gland and HPA axis dysfunction create are often not understood as part of this overall dysfunction between the adrenals and the HPA axis. And if when taken to a traditional Western medicine practitioner, they can be misdiagnosed and medicated for a very long time without the core issue being addressed. And so being aware of these symptoms or this collection of symptoms and knowing where it comes from is really important for overall longevity and just feeling good, in our everyday life. And so these are some of the top symptoms that can occur, signs and symptoms that can occur when this system is imbalanced. And so I just wanted to talk to you about them today, just in case some of you are experiencing them and then wondering, why am I not feeling so good if my lab work from my primary care physician is looking perfect? And so that's often what happens, is that people will feel crummy with some of these symptoms, and so they'll go to their primary care physician and they'll say, this is how I'm feeling, and they'll run the blood work, and the blood work will look perfect oftentimes actually, and this person is still feeling crummy. And so either they're dismissed or given some type of medication for a symptom that is related to this delicate hormonal imbalance. So the number one most common symptom that people experience is going to be fatigue. And what happens is that people will sometimes sleep an entire 8 hours, and they'll wake up and they'll still be tired. Or they'll notice, like around 2 to 4 o'clock, that they have this experience of like a slump. So oftentimes people will start reaching for sugar or caffeinated beverages or things to kind of make them feel more alive at that time. And when in reality what's happening is that the adrenals are not working correctly. And often just like overall fatigue. And sometimes people will feel tired, especially in the afternoon, but then around 10:30 or so, 10:30 p.m., they'll get this kind of like wired type feeling, and then they'll be up till very early in the morning, or experience a lot of insomnia because of that tired, wired feeling. So the second symptom up here is difficulty losing weight. That's a huge one of the biggest symptoms of this imbalance. Oftentimes that weight will kind of sit in the midsection. So you'll notice your belly getting bigger, even though you're working out a lot and you're eating perfectly. You'll notice that belly area or the fat tissue in that belly is not budging, and that's often related to an imbalance with the cortisol that the adrenals actually produce. So another symptom, brain fog. So you'll find that you're just not thinking as clear as you used to. You might be forgetting some things, or you just you're not able to concentrate. So that's also an adrenal gland dysfunction issue. Also, this is actually super common, especially in your 40s, and especially after some type of large stress in your life, possibly related to job or loss of a loved one or a breakup or something like that, or accident sometimes as well. that you will have a drastic or decrease in sex drive. It will start slow, and then you'll notice it gets worse and worse. And so actually, I've just spoken to a few people about that this week. That's very, very common. So, and what happens is that, people often go to the doctor and they'll get testosterone, and that sometimes will work, sometimes a little bit, but they're missing the adrenal HPA axis impact on this symptom right here. And so if you're struggling with a decrease in sex drive, know that it can be hugely related to this imbalance between the adrenals and the HPA axis. The adrenal HPA axis, actually, there's a huge tie-in with the sex hormones. And so if your body is trying to make cortisol because of the increased stress in your life, or you have a stressful lifestyle, what happens in the biochemical cascade is that the precursors that make your sex hormones actually go towards making the cortisol from the adrenals, and as a result, the sex hormones will decrease. And so that's one of the big, there's a huge connection between a decrease in sex drive and the adrenal HPA axis. Also, oftentimes you'll have food cravings, especially for sugar, salt, chips, things like that. One reason is to try to manage your hypoglycemia that's affiliated with the adrenal HPA axis, but also the adrenals. Actually, one of the hormones that it regulates is aldosterone in our bodies, and aldosterone is responsible for the balance, the cellular balance of certain electrolytes, including sodium. And so your body is trying to correct that imbalance by eating salty things, when in reality it's a system that is dysfunctional. So another really big symptom of adrenal issues is hypoglycemia. So you'll notice that you're really, really angry or like you'll get angry or irritable if you're not eating, or that, sometimes you just, if you're hungry, that's like the number one most important thing, and you're driven to eat at certain times because you notice that your blood sugar is bottoming out. And so sometimes people think, am I diabetic? Is there something related to diabetes? And actually, no, oftentimes it's related to the adrenals, and the fact that because this system is responsible, or partly responsible, for storing glycogen, your body doesn't have a storage system of that glucose. And so when you're hungry, it doesn't have access to anything to keep your blood sugar even for your brain function. And so as a result, you're driven to eat almost anything around you sometimes. So then one of the most important things that I want to emphasize in this video around the adrenal glands and the HPA axis dysfunction is that this system is directly tied into inflammation in your body. And I have a little star here because this is so important. And it wasn't until I was in chiropractic school, and I've been studying health and nutrition my whole life, that the concept of inflammation was really emphasized in my learning. And inflammation is so important because your body is aging, and repairing itself, whether it be for the after effects of exercise or just the normal processes that go on at the cellular level. And so your body is creating these molecules that are related to inflammation, and those inflammation molecules can turn on certain areas of bad genetics and create either further dysfunction or imbalances later on. And so keeping inflammation in check is so very important for decreasing aging and keeping the body away from some of the more serious imbalances and diseases that can occur. And so inflammation is extremely tied into the adrenal HPA axis because cortisol is a hormone that is one of the most anti-inflammation hormones in the body. And so if you have a dysfunction in the system that creates a healthy balance of cortisol, then you can have a lot of issues with inflammation. And once those inflammation molecules kind of keep occurring, they start destroying different areas of your body, including your vertebrae in your back, your tendons, your brain. It can impact, how your experience, your emotional reality, depression, a lot of other things. And so by keeping this system healthy, you're going to decrease the overall inflammation in your body. And there are a lot of other secondary symptoms around the adrenal glands that can come up. I just wanted to cover kind of the main ones. If anybody would like to schedule a consultation with me, I have a first appointment special going on. So for $99, we sit down and we figure out, how well, certainly this system is functioning, or any other metabolic condition around blood sugar, or just fatigue or anything else that you'd like to discuss. And it's a thorough consultation, and then I can point in the right direction and kind of help you, lead you to higher levels of vitality, and making sure that you're doing everything you can to prevent any other imbalances that might be looming in the future. So once again, my name is Dr. Debbie Roche. Feel free to reach out with any questions. I do offer free 10-minute consultations if you'd like to ask me some questions in person. And anyway, I hope that you have a lovely, lovely day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.